Okay, so we are good to go now. Hello everyone. So my name is Janjan Kumar Mishra. I am from Department of Mechanical Engineering, Parala Maharaj Engineering College, Barampur. Okay, so as all of you know that we are going through a tough time uh, due to this coronavirus or pandemic situation. So everything is closed, unable to uh, give lectures to my students. Okay, so I think the notes and all those soft copies or PPTs are not sufficient whenever you will prepare for these subjects. Okay, so there will be some chapters that will be difficult. There will be some doubts that is related to these chapters. Okay, so for that reason, I have come with one idea that I should prepare the lecture video. That will be a small or brief uh, description about some important chapters. Okay, not it is not going to be a 1 hour or 2 hour session that will be unnecessary, and not unnecessary, that will be pretty much uh, boring, I can say that, because in the internet you can find all the various types of lectures. Okay, so you can follow them. Okay, but here what I'm trying to do is those notes that I have given to my students. Okay, and I am teaching through that notes only. Okay, actually I want to prepare the PPT, but some problem that is going on in my laptop actually. So that is why I cannot prepare the PPT for this particular chapter. But still, we can continue with the notes that I have given you. Okay. So the chapter today we are going to discuss is aggregate production planning. Okay. So aggregate production planning, basically it is in the module 2 of your production operation management. Okay, so basically it is a very important chapter. Okay, and some of the students they opt with some doubts for this particular chapter, so I am thinking that I should start from this chapter only. Okay, then I will have the feedbacks of you or of my students. Okay, whether they are liking it or not, or they want something else, or they what are their views over this particular video, because honestly I am making this video for the first time. Okay, so I have experience in classroom teaching. I do not have any experience in this type of video lecturing, or although I have seen all those videos lectures, but still the limited resources that I have, I am preparing this video. Okay, so without much discussion over other things, we should start our chapter. Okay, so aggregate production planning. Okay, basically it depends upon the previous or the demand forecasting data or history that we have. So whenever we are saying demand forecasting data or history, basically that is related to an industry. Okay, suppose we will take one example of steel industry or steel production unit. Okay, so basically whenever the managing director or simply or the management or the manager will think about the next year production, what will be the volume of the production for the next year. Okay, if you want to think about that. Okay, so there are various types of products that is manufactured by the steel. Taking the example from the steel ingots, okay, billets, okay, steel wires, steel rods, okay. So different types of shapes and different types of products will be there. So obviously those different types of products have their respective volumes. Okay, so whenever the managing director is forecasting for the next time period or next time horizon, and that particular time horizon, whenever we are talking about this aggregate production planning, that time horizon is about 6 to 12 months or 1 year. Okay, so whenever he is thinking about that, what we will think of, what he will be thinking of. Is it he will calculate all those production volume of these different types of products that is from the steel, or simply he will think of the tons of steel that is going to be produced in the next period. Okay, so the simple answer that you can give now, the total tons of steel that is going to be produced for the next time period. Okay, so basically that is called the aggregate production planning, or simply we can say that in a general language, that is overall production planning. Okay, so here's the definition, or simply the introductory part of this particular chapter, that it uses basically the demand forecasting data of industry, and aggregate production planning is the exercise of development of an overall plan for a company, which specify how resources of that particular company are going to be committed over the next 6 month or 1 year time horizon. Okay, as I have already given you that example that is concerned with the overall production planning, and you can take the example of in tons of steel or liters of paints, etc. Okay, so basically commitment of the resources to meet the fluctuation, because whenever we are talking about the forecasting pattern or the demand forecast, okay, obviously practically that there will be no constant demand rate in a particular time period, there will be fluctuation. Okay, so basically we are doing that to deal with this fluctuation of demand, because let us consider same the steel plant again. Okay, so whenever we are talking about the steel plant products, so such as sheets, scalp, various ingots, then rail section that is written here, and strip, and varieties of shapes, etc. So here production aggregate production planning refers to the tons of steel rather than the individual parts. Okay, simply if you will take the example of automobile vehicle manufacturer, suppose like Maruti Udyog. Okay, so these are some various products or various cars that is produced by this Maruti Udyog, like Maruti 800, Zen, Van, Gypsy, Versa, etc. So company growth, whenever we are the managing director of this particular Maruti Udyog will uh, try to plan for the next time period or next year, what will be our number of production, or what will be the production volume to meet the demand of the market. Okay, so he is not going to discuss what should be the number of units of Maruti 800, what should be the number of units of Zen, what should be the number of units, or the number of units that is of Gypsy, what number of units sold in this year. Okay, and depending upon that, what will be the number of Gypsy that will be sold in the next year. Okay, no, they are not going to do that, because see, whenever we will forecast each and every product individually, obviously we know that whenever we are forecasting, there will be a forecasting error. Okay, that will be associated. So cumulatively, whenever we are forecasting different product, okay, so cumulatively the forecasting error will be more. Okay, so that is why here aggregate production planning is the savior. Okay, so what they will think of, they will think of that is the total number of passenger vehicles sold. Okay, so now there will be a question, sir, how the price of Maruti 800s and Gypsy are not equal? Okay, they are different. So how can we directly sum up all those different types of vehicle into one, that is passenger vehicle, or the number of passenger vehicle? Okay, right, that is also one very good, can be a very good question. But see what one can do, or what the manager or managing director will do. Okay, according to the price, they have to rate those particular vehicles. Like suppose Maruti 800 will bear a point of 0.8, Zen will have more, that is 1.2. Okay, so such types of ratings will be there, and those rating will be affected, or are going to affect those particular figures that we are forecasting. Okay, So that is basically the aggregate production planning. Okay, so what I have just tell you right now, that aggregate production planning leads to greater accuracy. Okay, so in aggregate forecasting demand than individual